When you think of ancient pyramids, I bet your mind goes straight to Egypt, right? Of course it does. But what if I told you there was another great pyramid-building kingdom, one that flourished for centuries just south of Egypt? Well, it's time to explore the incredible and often forgotten story of Meroë.
Take a look at this. You see these steep, narrow pyramids rising out of the desert sands? This is in Giza. This is modern-day Sudan. We're looking at the heart of a civilization that was, for a long time, a major rival to its famous northern neighbor.
And we're not talking about just a handful of pyramids here. The site of Meroë alone has more than 200 of them. To put that in perspective, that's way more than you'll find in all of Egypt combined. It's a staggering number, and it hints at a long, powerful, and wealthy dynasty. So this just begs the question, right? Who were the people who built these incredible structures? And why has such a major kingdom been so overshadowed by history? Why don't we hear more about them?
To answer that, we've got to journey to the heart of this civilization, to the lost city of pyramids itself.
So Meroë was the bustling southern capital of what was known as the Kingdom of Kush. For nearly 1,000 years, it was a major political and cultural hub, one of the most advanced states on the entire African continent. This was no remote outpost. This place was an absolute powerhouse.
So what made them so powerful? Well, it wasn't just about their prime location on the Nile. Their power was built on something much, much harder: iron.
But here's what's fascinating. Meroë wasn't always the capital. The Kushite kingdom was originally centered further north, in a city called Napata. So why, around 590 BC, did they pack up and move their entire seat of government south?
Well, it turned out to be a brilliant strategic decision. Meroë was sitting on a gold mine, or, well, an iron mine. The area was rich in iron ore and the hardwood trees needed to fuel the furnaces to smelt it. On top of that, it gave them better access to the Red Sea trade routes and was in a summer rainfall belt, which made farming much more reliable. It was basically the perfect spot to build an empire.
And they really ran with it. Meroë became this massive center for iron production. Their metal workers were considered some of the best in the world, and their iron tools and weapons were traded far and wide, bringing immense wealth and influence back to the kingdom.
All this wealth supported a really unique and powerful culture, and it was led by a truly fascinating line of rulers.
And here's where things get really interesting. Meroë wasn't just ruled by kings. As you can see from this relief of Queen Amenitor and the statue of King Natakamani, power was very often shared. In fact, women in Meroë held an incredible amount of authority, which kind of flips our typical view of ancient power structures on its head.
This brings us to the Kandakes. This was the title for Meroë's powerful queen mothers, or in some cases, ruling queens. And let's be clear, they weren't just consorts standing by the king's side. Nope, they were full-on autocratic leaders who commanded armies, ran the state, and ruled in their own right. Their power is in such stark contrast to the roles women held in places like Greece or Rome at the same time.
And this wasn't some local secret. Their reputation was known across the ancient world. Even the famous Greek historian Herodotus, writing way back in the 5th century BC, called Meroë a great city and the mother city of the region. That tells you just how important and influential this place was. And you can literally see this wealth and sophistication in their art. Just look at the insane craftsmanship on this golden bracelet, which was found in a royal tomb. It's proof of a culture that produced absolutely stunning works of art.
But you know how it goes. Being a rich and powerful kingdom means you inevitably attract the attention of other big empires. And for Meroë, that meant a dramatic clash with none other than Rome.
So in the late 1st century BC, tensions just boiled over. Meroë attacked Roman-held Egypt, and the Romans, of course, retaliated, sacking the old capital of Napata. But the Kushites, led by the fierce Kandake Amanirenas, did not back down. They launched a counterattack and ultimately negotiated a surprisingly favorable peace treaty directly with Emperor Augustus himself. And check out this amazing symbol of their defiance. During their raid, Meroic forces captured a bronze head from a statue of Augustus. They brought it all the way back to Meroë and buried it under the steps of a temple. Why? So that everyone who entered would literally trample on the face of the Roman emperor. I mean, talk about a power move.
So, while Meroë held its own against the mighty Roman Empire, its decline eventually came from a different direction.
Weakened by wars and shifting trade routes, the kingdom was finally conquered around 350 AD by the rising power of Aksum, a neighboring kingdom in what is now modern-day Ethiopia.
The fall of the city marked the end of an incredible era. But Meroë left behind a great mystery, a puzzle that historians and linguists are still trying to piece together today.
You see, one of Meroë's greatest cultural achievements was developing its own unique alphabet, which you can see here on this stone stela. By the 3rd century BC, they had completely replaced Egyptian hieroglyphs with their own script, called Meroitic.
But here's the mystery. It's a big one. While we can read the script, we know what sounds the letters make, we don't fully understand the language itself. Scholars are totally divided. Some think it's related to ancient Egyptian, part of the Afroasiatic family, but others make a really strong case that it's part of the Nilo-Saharan family, based on its grammar and the words we do know.
And that is the single biggest reason why Meroë remains so enigmatic. It's the ultimate historical lockbox. We can see the outlines of their world through archaeology, but without being able to fully read their own words, a huge part of their history, their beliefs, and their daily lives is still just out of reach.
But what remains is just breathtaking. Today, the ruins of Meroë are protected as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which recognizes their global importance and serves as a powerful reminder of this incredible, often overlooked civilization.
You know, the story of Meroë, this kingdom of powerful queens, master ironworkers, and pyramid builders, it really reminds us that the history we think we know is often incomplete. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other great civilizations does history just ask us to rediscover?